Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of Wirecast Live. I'm Andrew Haley, your host, and today is Thursday, August 11th, 2016. I'm glad you're joining us. If you are, please shout out and say hello in the comment section. You can comment on the Facebook page. That's where we're posting this live. Or if you're viewing this later on our YouTube channel at Wirecast Tube, please leave us a comment there. We like to check those. And you can always leave questions as well. This is a show where every week we like to talk about things about Wirecast or related to Wirecast or live streaming in general, share tips and in-depth tutorials, things you may not have known about the software or things that you did know but didn't know applied to you. So there's lots of different things that we can cover. It's a very broad show category and topic, so we kind of leave it open. Each week we might do something different. Sometimes we have on special guests. Sometimes we have partners that we partner with here at Telestream, or hopefully soon we'll have other live broadcasters and power users of the software. So come back each week. We're usually here at 2:30 Pacific time on Thursdays. This week we're broadcasting an hour later than usual, but we'll be back to our normal scheduled time next week. So I hope to see you then. And our topic for today is going to be all about virtual sets. How do you use virtual sets in Wirecast? This is a topic that a lot of people have asked us about, and it's a feature that's been in Wirecast for a while now. And I think it's time we devoted a little time to it. And later on, we'll have actually some of our partners who make virtual sets come on the show and tell you a little bit more about how they make them and what goes on behind the scenes with it all. But for today, we're going to focus on what do you have at your fingertips. Now, just a disclaimer, this is a pro feature only, so you need the professional version of Wirecast. If you have Wirecast Studio, you won't be able to use the virtual sets as you see me use them here today, but you can either upgrade to the Pro version for about $500 if you've got the Studio version, or if you have a previous version of Pro, if you're way back on Wirecast 3 or 4, you may need to upgrade to the most recent version 7 Pro in order to use the virtual set feature. So without further ado, let's dive in, and I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to pull up my desktop here, and I have the Wirecast main interface here. This is just the welcome window. I'm going to hit continue, and let's pop that up. That's going to pull up Wirecast. So basically, if you just bought the software off the shelf and you have the Pro version, and if you don't know if you have the Pro version, that's visible up here in the left, and it came with your license. Also, if you paid a lot more money than you did for the Studio version, that's usually a good tip-off. Down here in the clear layers or in the master layers, you can add virtual sets. In fact, if we just click on any of these plus buttons, you'll see it pop up, and at the bottom of the list is the virtual set option. So just click that, and that will add one of our pre-made virtual sets into Wirecast. So why don't we do that? You get a selection of 3 different sets, but 3 different angles or variations of the set. So you can choose from the city set front or city set left and right, just kind of angles or changes the camera position on that set. There's some slightly different elements in each one, but the general set itself is the same. Same with the Moonlight set, which is a little bit more of a kind of like a late night talk show style, a little more futuristic version. And then you've got the Beechwood set. And again, 3 angles for each. So why don't we choose the Beechwood set for now? I'm going to choose this guy here, the set right, I believe. It's getting cut off on my thumbnail there. And that's going to add the shot as a virtual set into Wirecast. And if we pop open the inspector here, you can see all the different elements that make up this virtual set. So our sets are fairly simple. They're just a foreground, which is really, if we turn that off here, I'm going to hit the eyeball button here. That's going to make the desk disappear out of the shot. The foreground is really this desk and floor area, and if you were going to move it around, you'd see that this is a transparent layer element. And it's rendered in 3D, so it looks more realistic. I'm going to hit undo there to just reposition it back to its spot. You also have placeholders. This is really where you're going to put your live camera or your talent. So if we wanted to change this to say our capture device here, I'm going to add our video shot, then I can come in and take the place of that and come in as and all I did there was in case you missed it, I right clicked on that placeholder and I assigned the video capture card or the camera that I have here to this shot. You can see I have I come in as quite a bit larger than that placeholder, and then also I still have the green screen behind me, so I need to take that out. So why don't I do that? First, let's start by resizing. I'm going to click on, make sure I have this layer selected, or this shot selected. Click on my shot layer properties, and I'm just going to scale it down. And there it is. And that should be about right. You want to make yourself in proportion to the desk. I might be a little large there, but that, you know, in general, that gets me in the right ballpark. And now I need to chroma key that out. So just head over to your chroma key properties tab up here on the right. Hit the use chroma key. And that makes the background, all that green screen behind me, transparent and just leaves me in the shot. And so you can see that using virtual sets with a green screen and the chroma key filter are really, they go hand in hand, because if you try to do a virtual set without being able to take out the background, it's going to look a little weird. You're going to have a bar of color, or you're going to have that background in there. It's just, you're not going to seamlessly blend in the way that it's looking like here. And of course, you can reposition this. Keep in mind that obviously if you hover too far above any of the elements, the shot's really just floating out there. You need to be aware of where does the camera scene or composition end, and where are the cutoff points. In any shot or composition shot, the camera only has so much field of view. And so if you go outside of that, it's going to look, you know, you're going to get cut off, even though it appears that the background or the environment that I'm in is borderless. This shot or element inside of it clearly has, you know, 4 borders. So just drag that in. Another thing to keep in mind, and it is already layered the way it's supposed to be, but if you don't have things layered correctly, let me zoom in here. If you don't have things layered correctly, then if an element, for example, is in front of or behind the wrong one, things aren't going to look normal either. So if I accidentally had the set foreground in front of the camera shot, or sorry, behind the camera shot, then I could float around, you know, in front of the desk. And that obviously isn't right either. So you need to make sure you have things roughly correctly layered and composited. That's very important when making, you know, these types of scenes. And that way, if I do want to drag my camera around, I can make myself lower behind the desk, and it looks as if I'm actually in the scene. Layering elements, whether they're foreground elements or background elements, is a very important part of making virtual sets seem realistic and lifelike. So then, of course, we also have our placeholder B. This might be, you know, it's a television screen in the fake virtual environment. And this is a great place to put media or clips that you might be talking about. It's just, you know, one of those standard props you see on a news set or in a news show, and it's provided here for your convenience, and it makes it look as if you're talking, you know, what you're talking about. So it's up to you what type of media you put in there, whether it's, you can change that. You could duplicate this shot and change the content from each one, so that as you bring in other elements, you can switch between them. So there's several ways to do that. You could either duplicate the shot itself, and now we have a copy of it, and say in this one we could make placeholder B could be, we'll just make it an image. So we'll bring in a media file. I'm going to go to my pictures, and let's bring in a say this Wirecast 7 logo. Hit open, and if I drag that, oops, hold on, let's make sure it's the right one. Drag that through, you can see it's quite large. We're going to scale to fit. Actually, I'm going to just scale it down here. And it's going to scale inside of the television screen, because again, it's layered behind that, and this layer that's in front of it is what's called the set background, right? So that's just really floating out in the middle of, you know, makes the set look quite lonely if you turn off the background. But you've got that, and that layers in front of it, but this area of the television screen is actually transparent, so whatever's behind the set will pop through there. If I move this off screen or behind other elements in the background, it's not going to show. So that's one way to do that. Now, if we click over to this one, we can make this placeholder be something different. We could make it a different picture, or a web page, or something else, whatever types of media you want to add. Now, I'm in the same shot. I'll just demonstrate this for you. Let's go to, again, pictures, and go to, I think I have one here in the documents folder. Usually I've got a picture of a web page. What I'm going to do is just take a quick screenshot. Let's head over to telestream.net. It's an easy way to do it. Take a screenshot of this. If you're on a Mac, easy way to do a screenshot is hit your command button, Shift 4, and then it'll let you draw a box around anything you want to take a picture of on the screen. But we can also do an easier one. We can hit the space bar, and this entire window will be highlighted or taken a picture of. And you can see the mouse icon actually turns into a camera. So hit that, click that, and that will make our screenshot. Now I'm just going to go to the desktop and add that screenshot. There we go. Okay, so again, it came in too large for that television, so we're going to scale that down and move it over. Oop. Going to grab this guy. And it looks like my camera's in front. This is one of the little quirks of Wirecast 7, which is that you've got this issue where if layers are too composited, and again, you'll see this being fixed, I think, in an update. But basically, if you've got too much going on the screen, it can be a little difficult to move different elements around. So just be aware of that. So now I'm going to click through here and grab this guy. And again, we can scale it however we want. But here we have a web page behind us. So now I've got the same shot, but with two different media elements behind me. And so as I switch or transition between them, I'll stay the same, more or less. I think I moved my own position a little bit, so I might want to match myself back up. But anyway, assuming you haven't moved anything out of the position, then you can switch between them. And then the only thing that in theory will change is the media on the screen, the television screen. Okay. Another way to do this is to actually only have one shot. I'm going to keep this one on screen and just remove that placeholder B out of the shot. So you just have a transparent image in the television area, in the television screen up there for the virtual set. And you can add all the B media on a lower layer. So if we add this media shots that we wanted, so we had our Wirecast, we had our screenshot, which was our web page. And then if I wanted to also add the Wirecast logo from the photos file, hit OK there. Now, if I want to move this around, and I'm going to move this out, if I want to reposition this to be where it should be, if I have a shot on the screen, and then let me move that out of the way. This will basically allow it so that I've got the, I can change everything I want here and reposition things in the background. And I'm going to scale that even further down. There we go. Here we go. And the same would hold true for the web page. I'm going to scale that down. Move it over. And pull that back on. Okay. So, and if you need to kind of adjust things to where it's going to fill the screen and so forth, that's up to you. Get it the way you want it. And now the foreground shot is going to remain basically the same. I'm going to bring myself there. And the only thing that's going to change is you can switch things on layer 2 and easily switch shots that way. We could also make this a playlist by dragging one element onto another, dropping it in and making it a playlist of media that's just playing in the background. So several ways to do that or to composite things. Again, with Wirecast 7 and the new system, the way everything is done in this preview composite layer, it's a little tricky to grab these things and to line them all up. And that's just one of the byproducts of the new editing system, which is really good, and it has changed a lot of things for the better. This is one of those areas where I think it still needs some fine-tuning and some work, and I think, again, you'll see some updates coming around that, because the development team's definitely aware that there was some problems introduced with this, because as you can see, even I'm having some trouble grabbing things, and I even have to take things off screen and then estimate the area that they are in to bring them back on. So I don't want to short sell you that or just gloss over that. That's definitely a little bit of a frustration point, but it's still totally possible to get, you know, really good quality work done and to see make the changes. So that's a basic virtual set that comes with the software and is just part of Wirecast Pro. Let's look at our partners, which you can find at our website. There is an addition that you can add on to Wirecast Pro called the Virtual Set Pack. I'm going to show you that first. So if you head to Wirecast and you click on the features page, you can see one of our partners is the Virtual Sets. And this is done by Virtual Setworks, and I think for $329 you can add on these amazing additional virtual sets. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to give you a preview of this, and then we'll actually invite them on the show as well to talk a little bit more about this and how they create these and what other types of sets they have available. So Virtual Setworks is a great company that's been doing this a long time, and we're very happy to have them as partners. So look for that upcoming live show soon. But for the meantime, I'll be able to give you a bit of a preview of how this works. The first thing you need to do is if you do want these sets, you need to buy them, add them to your cart, and purchase them through Wirecast. Once you've done that, you'll be sent an email with a link to download the virtual sets. Once you've downloaded them, you need to, I'm going to quit Wirecast. Once you've downloaded them and it's opened the zip file that's attached, you're going to get an installer, and it's going to be a little different on Windows versus Mac, but this is a Mac, that's going to ask you to basically install the virtual sets file. So I'm going to authenticate, and that's going to copy the virtual sets files onto the hard drive from the disk image, the downloadable disk image. And now we should be good to go. Let's open Wirecast. Pull open a brand new document. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Okay, so you're going to open Wirecast. Open a brand new document. And now you'll notice when you click on the virtual set option here, a new pop-up is going to drop down, and it should be quite a bit longer and larger than what you saw before. So not only do you get 6 additional sets, you get a ton of different camera angles from those sets. So huge amount of options from what you can choose from. And another cool thing that they do is they actually have still images of models that stand in as the talent. So just from adding that additional feature, you could see how much more variety you have, how many more different types of environments and production options you have. It's really, really cool. I love their work, and they do some great stuff. So why don't we dive in and preview a couple of the sets. So first one of the ones I like is this brick studio, almost like you're in a studio apartment. Let's hit that, hit OK. You'll still get your placeholder images, but honestly, they're not needed with these sets. So you can delete these, and you'll see that they already have a talent layer right here, and that is the talent, the model, and you would just replace that with your camera angle. So again, if it was me, I'd probably, my camera shot's not going to work for this because I'm just going to be floating and cut off at my waist or something, because that's where the camera cuts off. You'll want a full screen shot of somebody standing full frame, full body, to take the place of this shot, because otherwise you don't have any desk to hide behind in this particular shot. But let's throw me in there anyway. And we're going to do the same thing. We'll do the chroma key. And we're going to resize. And there you go. And so this would, you know, roughly, if it was a full frame shot, you would have somebody standing about this tall or so in this virtual city studio set environment. Now, one of the things that was also taken away with Wirecast 7 was a zoom slider. You could zoom in to virtual sets to change the depth or the how close you were to the scene. That feature has gone away in 7. I don't know if it'll be restored or not. So for now, you're kind of limited to what you to the angle that's presented in the shot. You can't zoom it up. If you want, you can individually zoom each element in the scene, but you can see that's quite a tall order with some of these virtual sets that Virtual Setworks has created. They are incredibly complex. Not only do they have the elements themselves, like tables and lamps and chairs and backgrounds, but they also have shadows and lighting and reflections. And so there's all these different layers and things associated with different elements in the scene. So we could take out the brick walls, but you can see there's also the brick shadows to have to take out. So it's a really, they've done some incredible work here and made these sets really lifelike. One of the best things that they do is the backdrops themselves make it look like you would see something on the Tonight Show or in a professional talk show environment. So you can actually see real city backgrounds back there, and it just really adds an air of realism that you can't touch. So again, scaling all this for zooming in would be pretty tricky. We can give it a shot, but I think everything's gonna get pretty... I wonder if that's gonna work. Well, that all scaled up nicely. Okay, so we did select all, so I guess you can do that pretty well, which surprised me. So everything scaled well. So I would say if you do want to do that, maybe I'm wrong. I stand corrected. There is a way to do it. The zoom slider is gone, but if you batch select everything in the entire scene, including all the elements, and you can do that by holding your shift key and then selecting each layer, and then your entire shot layers list should highlight in blue. Then you head over here to the scale. Everything seems to scale very nicely in proportion. So don't go too far. You'll start to get very fuzzy and pixelated. So you can see me there. I'm going to turn me off. But these elements are actually quite detailed. So they're holding up pretty well under a high magnification. I'm at 224% size. But you start to see some fuzziness beyond a certain point. So keep that in mind. This was something I was talking about with Virtual Setworks earlier today, and was a question that they had was, where did the zoom slider go? So zoom slider's gone, but you have the ability to batch select and then use the scale slider. So pretty much going to give you more or less the same effect. Alrighty, that doesn't work with everything, by the way. Not everything will scale in orientation or in position with each other, particularly text and titles. When you try to batch select, that has not worked. So I was not expecting it to work for this, but it did. That's a good workaround for you if you're missing that feature with the virtual sets. All right, let's explore a couple more, and then we'll wrap up for today. So I'm going to add another virtual set. And again, you have so much to choose from. I won't have time to preview all of them for you guys today. But another one that I like a lot, that I've seen frequently, is the one that looks like someone's study or a bookcase area. I'm going to delete those layers. Again, they're just going to get in the way. Talent will need to be replaced. Hopefully not me permanently. All right, we're going to add the chroma key. And now you can see I'm kind of sitting in this bookcase study with a nice sort of lawn and some trees behind me, some clouds. It looks really good. And I'm going to scale myself down just a little bit. So you can see someone standing here. There's the kind of globe right there, and it just, I don't know, it's a cool environment. This is a neat one. Now, this is a very zoomed in version of this particular shot. Again, I'm going to just take myself out of there, and let's scale everything up or down and see how it goes. All right, so that's kind of the limits of this particular scene. If you want a wider angle on it, and this is one of the things that's kind of neat about this, is you could choose the same set but choose a different angle or position and have someone else or different on-screen talent be at a different spot. So here's maybe a less extreme version. There's also a very, very wide shot here. I'm going to zoom in. You can see here we have super wide on the same scene, a little bit of medium and close-up and extreme close-up. So let's go to the wide. And we'll pull that in. And again, I'll just jump in here and remove the layers that I don't need. And I'm even going to remove or turn off the talent layer there. So there you go. That is the same scene, which is much wider. The camera is much more zoomed out. So you could have someone else standing over here. You could have someone else standing here and merge them in together as if they were talking about different things or sitting in the same room together. It's pretty cool. And that is our tour of virtual sets. There's a lot more to look at, a lot more to explore. There's more information on the website at telestream.net, or you can head over to virtualsetworks.com. Again, it's www.virtualsetworks.com to check out all the cool stuff. They have a lot of different sets there, and I think they can help you out if you want to use some of the other sets that are not in the expansion pack. So check that out. Talk with them if you have any questions. And I see you guys do have some questions, so let's talk about them. Matteo, you're welcome. Glad you're enjoying this. So Eric, looks like you're on there. Eric, thanks for joining us. So Eric is from Virtual Setworks. He's available to answer questions in the chat if you have questions about his set. So please help him with questions. Looks like, Rob, were there any sports backgrounds? And Eric answered their studio, their 194 is a sports-themed studio. So you can check that out. And yeah, and then Eric also says that the pack on the Telestream website is your best value. You're going to get the most number of sets and angles for the price. But they do have many others. As you can see, they're up in the 200 to 300 range in terms of number of studios and sets and virtual environments that they built. So they build a lot. They have a wide selection and a wide variety. Is there any easy way to change elements A or B? In Wirecast 6, we just selected the source and then swapped. Yeah, again, there's no media library in Wirecast 7. So the idea that you can select a layer or a source and then go find a drawer with all of your added elements, that's gone in Wirecast 7. So at the moment, I do feel you on that. It's a little harder to swap placeholders. The placeholders are a bit, I don't know, almost redundant in a way because you have to almost add media from scratch every time anyway. Again, I know that our team is working on some changes around that, so hopefully bring back some of the ease of use that 6 had while still keeping the advantages that 7 has introduced. A good question. For now, you need to right-click on anything you want to replace and then go find the appropriate source to attach to that. Any questions? Other questions that you might have? These are good questions. I'm glad. Looks like we have a good audience today. All right, well, you guys, that's all for today. This was a wonderful, I had a wonderful time showing you this stuff, and I had another great episode. So we'll see you next week. Stay tuned. We'll have a special guest next Thursday, 2:30 p.m. Wirecast Live. Thanks for joining us today. If you have questions or comments, please tweet at us at Wirecast or find us on Facebook as you have at facebook.com/Telestream Telestream Wirecast. So either way, we'll be here, and we look forward to talking with you soon and seeing what you guys come up with. Thanks for watching.